Okay, this is James Possible, and I happened upon David Knight's YouTube video where he talks about his experiences with TopStepTrader. And the whole reason I found him was because I've been looking at TopStepTrader, and what it is, it's a site that funds traders. This is it right here. My goal is to trade full-time the forex market or the currency markets. This is a futures account, so I would be trading currencies and futures. And so you go through this process, you prove you can profit, show you can manage risk, and then once you're funded, you take that into making real money. Here's the accounts, how they're broken up. Again, this is TopStepTrader.com. No, I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I'm just very interested in what they have to offer. And this combine, they call it the combine, and that's the qualifying process, which David talks about in his video. This is what it looks like. So, coming back to David, this really is a response for David, and hopefully it's helpful, and to not just you, David, but hopefully it's helpful for others as well. First off, man, love what you're sharing. It's not always an easy thing to share so openly, and this may be something that you do with each of your videos. This is just the first time I've come across you, so I'm definitely going to be listening to more. Really appreciate your sharing like this. The journal read and everything, just wow, top notch. But here's the thing, and I hope you hear all of this with the intention that it's meant. It's meant in a very caring way and a suggestive way. The way I learned about mindset and just the way I approach life, I learned it with this caveat. Be open and be willing to hear others, their thoughts and their ideas. And when they make sense to you, try them out. Give them a try. If they don't work, then don't do it anymore, right? But if it makes sense to you, give it a try. So if any of what I share makes sense to you, hey, have at it. It's nothing that I own. It's stuff that I've learned. It's through years of observation, writing. I write all the damn time. All the damn time. I just don't write in journals as formal as you, but I'm constantly writing. So I'm probably going to miss some points, and that's okay. I didn't really want to script this, because this really is just a genuine share, and hopefully it means it's meaningful and helpful for you as well. You talk about your passion being trading, and it's an interesting thing how we as people function sometimes. It's not always easy to embrace our passions, especially when haven't really hit this level that we have in our head. We have it in our mind of what a great, like in this case, a great trader is, right? Not just a good, but a great trader is. So sometimes it's really hard to acknowledge passion because of our own thoughts, right? Our own processes, how we evaluate and determine what a quality trader is, right? So we're looking at this comparison. There's this comparison that we're making, and whether it's trading or not, we're doing that, and so that one conversation can make someone's ability to accept and embrace fully their passion very difficult. And so because of that, we tend to lead with what we know, and it's one of those things that can really cripple or challenge a person to reach for that goal that they really want to reach for, right? But it may just scare the hell out of them. Their fear, angst, frustration. Something changes when you go 100% after something. And it's not always an easy thing to embrace. And in pop culture, we're taught, follow your passion, follow your dream, and all these things. Well, you know what? That's not an easy thing to do. And if you've been trading as long as you say you've been trading, then bravo for hanging in there and doing it. And bravo for sharing your experience as you've been sharing it, because we as a community, we really, people like you make this journey real, because there are a lot of people out there that present themselves as these, as you say, masterful traders, and what they teach is quite to the contrary, quite to the opposite, detrimental to many traders. So bravo. And so I share this thought on passion because as I listened to your journal, I found myself curious. And as I said, this is your first video that I've listened to, and this may be true in your other videos. The embrace of difficulty, and follow this thought, if you will. The difficulty is just life, right? No matter what we choose, there's always going to be some challenge, right? There's always going to be something to learn. If we haven't done it before, then there's something to be learned. And I kind of jumped over the point of the, knowing what you know to be true is a hurdle, a thought process that can keep you away from being a beginner in heart. Because when we start on this journey, whatever the journey is, in this case we're talking about trading. So when we start on this journey of trading, it's a new experience, right? And so if we don't look at it as a new experience, and we try to take all this stuff that we know behind us, right, and we try to bring it into it, we begin to color the opportunity of learning something new. we begin to shift from being somebody that doesn't really know to somebody that has taken their past experiences and then tries to make it into what they know. And in truth, it's such a being a trader, right? To trade consistently, to trade profitably is, it's not an easy, well, it's not, it takes work, right? And it's not an easy thing. It's simple in many ways, and yet it's can be so challenging in other ways. And so it's letting go of what we know. And if we were to have a conversation, you and I'd probably explore those journals a little bit more with you. And if they read very similar to what you shared, I might suggest, and again, you try it out, it works or it doesn't, right? I might suggest you write with a different tenor. Begin to write with a different perspective. Not why it didn't work, but, and again, this may be just the one journal, right? There's so many threads. I'm on Twitter, so I have a decent following, and I get so much feedback and stuff, and I see so much stuff out there that teaches traders to focus on what's not working. And I'm suggesting to you that that's not where energy will, that's not where your greatest benefit of your energy will be. Just looking at the time here, this is not going to be a short video, I can tell you that. So no apologies, this is just me. This is how I think, this is how I process. I care deeply about people. I care about trading. Trading is absolutely my passion. Like, I cannot see me not trading for the rest of my life. I mean, I wake up, I think about trading. I go to sleep, I think about trading. I dream about trading. I'm thinking about charts all the time. There's no off for me. Am I where I want to be? No. Am I really close? Oh, hell yeah. I'm like so close. I've done so much work. And so you talk about these other things that you're doing, and yeah, man, you got to survive, right? So survive. Make sure you survive. But when it comes to your trading, don't focus on survival. Screw survival. This is your passion, right? I mean, seriously, if this is your passion, I mean, you should be feeling it in your bones, right? This isn't a calm thing. Not for me. And if you've been doing it that long, and if you really have that about it, no, there is no calm about it. And I know there's people that teach meditation and all this stuff, but you know what? There's a part of it that's emotional. There's a part of it that's visceral. Why? Because it's about you. It's about your future. Just because it's visceral and just because it's emotional doesn't mean you can't keep your head and trade productively, trade profitably, trade consistently, right? But understand what's on the line, right? If it's your passion, if it truly is your passion, accepting less is putting your passion at risk. And to anybody else I'm saying this, I don't care if their passion is trading or not. One of my favorite all-time quotes is, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And again, back to that whole thing about passion being scared. Well, that's a scary thought. That simple little phrase. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. And it was Lori Morgan Ferrer that is responsible for that quote. And I just love that quote. And it's so true. There is no sitting on the fence in life. There isn't. I mean, we're in this moment. I'm in this moment right now. I'm sharing with you fully, right? I'm not holding back. Even if you don't appreciate it, I can't be concerned about that, because I'm reaching out to you and anybody else that's listening, and I'm saying, hey, I have something to say to you. And hopefully it's something that can make a difference for you. Because in some ways, we're on the same journey. We've at least chosen a similar path. The top step trading. Right? You've passed the combine several times, so you have no doubts about that, right? Okay, great. But now what's next? What's missing? Right? And and this is a tough one. It's not, and this is where it's not about belief. And this is all me. This single thought right here, it's not about belief. People get so screwed up because they fall into this trap that, well, if I believe it, it will happen. Well, there's nothing tangible in belief. Anyone I've ever known or met in my lifetime that has said or relied or embraced the phrase, I believe whatever, blah, 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 the evidence at the other end of that comment is they don't have it. So screw belief, get over it, let it go, and understand that when you're in faith, and I'm not talking about religious faith, screw that. That's not what this conversation's about, okay? I'm talking about faith. It's like going to get a glass of water, to fill it up with water, to get a drink. That doesn't require belief. Yeah, but if you think about every step of the process to get to there to do that, and then to drink it, well, that's a pretty extraordinary process. I mean, if I had to create a robot to do all those little things that it took to get a glass of water, that would take an extraordinary amount of programming to cause that to happen. Yet, we do it every day. We don't even think about it. Dude, man, you got a serious screw on your face there, man. How much work do you put into that? How much time, right? I can't even grow a beard like that. Okay? No amount of belief is going to give me a beard, right? I don't know, that was a little segue. I don't even know where that came from. But it's like driving a car as well. Same thing, right? Think about, I remember the first time I drove, I turned left. Oh my God, I went all the way across the street. I came back all the way across the other street, right? It was crazy. And then what I do today. So here today as an adult with my children and stuff, sometimes I even drive with my knee, right? Who doesn't? I remember seeing that as a teenager. My friend's father would do that. He would grab the wheel with his knees, and of course, as a child, I didn't clue into that part, right? Then he put his hands up like this. Well, you know, as you become more skilled at things, you can begin to do more and more things, right? You can do more advanced things. Well, same thing is true with traders. So you've gotten over the combine, right? So you can get through that. You've proven that. You can get funded. You can do all of that. But now it's after that. It's the funding process, right? It's all that stuff. Well, what the hell? And yeah, I know you don't like to cuss and stuff, and I'm a little more colorful with my language, David, so forgive, okay? Dude, what did you say? You said, I know I wrote it down somewhere. Hang on a second here. Where did I write that down? Hang on. I think it's right here. No. Oh, that's so frustrating. This is impromptu, so again, not really prepared. Oh, okay. Hang on, I'll take one more look. Well, that's a bummer. I wrote this down. Oh, I know. I was about to comment on your video. That's where I wrote that down. I apologize. Okay. When I lose, it usually comes in threes. David, why would you do that to yourself? When I lose, it usually comes in threes. See, remember how I said, what you know is true can be a huge, huge, huge hurdle. And I would suggest to you that that is not an absolutely true statement. And if it's not absolutely a true statement, why the hell would you embrace it as an absolute statement? You were talking about mindset, right? Think about that. Think about that one thing. There's a thing I like to say, argue for your limitations, and your limitations you will have. Now really think about that. Argue for your limitations, and your limitations you will have. Sometimes we get so caught up in our justifications of why we don't have what it is we say we want. And all we're really doing when we go through that process, and I'm not saying I don't go through that. I do that. I do stupid shit like that. But all that's happening when I go through that, when you go through that process, and anybody else, all we're doing is arguing for the limitation. We're saying that, look, this is what's keeping me from having this happen. In other words, the justification is blame. It's blaming something other than self. There is nothing else out there. There's only you and I and ourselves, right? And I know, I'm passionate, right? So I know I might be coming off a little edgy, and that's just me. But it's meant with love, it's meant with care, and it's just like, if you just understand what I'm trying to share. Cut your losses, right? Yeah, that's one part of risk management. It's one part. It's one part of it, right? There's so many other parts, right? Position size. Do you have an edge? And don't even get me started on do you have an edge, right? I mean, are you trading an edge or not? That's something that I would ask you. Well, what's your edge? I would want to know. What's your edge? Can you describe to me your edge in 3 to 5 quick, easy points? Most traders can't do that. And so, if you can't define your edge that way, then how will you ever know? And I'm not saying this is you. You might be able to do that. But I'm just saying it's a thought that's coming to my mind as I'm listening. And I'm like, until an edge is defined, there's no way to understand what probability really exists in a trader's trading style or method, or even in the trades that they're taking. Because if there's not an edge, a well-defined edge, then every trade is really a random trade. And a random trade is not where profit, consistent, long-term profit comes from. It's not about cutting losses, although you did say that you were coming up against the edge on the, I think it was the daily loss limit. So there's something there, right, on cutting losses. Been there, done that, I totally get it, right? I'm not a fan of stop losses. But because I'm not a fan of stop losses, I also understand on the other side of that coin, that means that I have to be really diligent about watching my trades. And I have to have a really clear understanding of, okay, I'm wrong. Now I'm wrong. Get out. Right? So I can't have this gray. Just because I don't put the stop loss in doesn't mean that I have this I'm just going to ride it or whatever. No, you can't. Because when your losses start exceeding your profits, what happens? You're not making money. So yeah, stop losses are important, but that's only one part of risk management, and I'm sure you know that. But I'm just sharing, okay? I'm just here going through what I heard. Letting profits run. That's an interesting conversation, and I get it. But then I also get there's two sides of this coin here of letting profits run. But then you also follow up with, taking profits off the table as the trade rides. So you kind of cover that, because what happens in so many instances is that we neglect the stop loss, and we're into this profit, we're deep into profit, and we think it's going to ride to the moon, and like you said, so we don't take any money off at any point, and then we don't move our stop loss up to protect the losses. And see, that's the thing. When you move into profit, your stop loss it protects your profit. And if you're not consistently finding yourself in positions where you have profit to protect, then there's something about your entry that really needs to be reevaluated, right? And these are just thoughts that I've learned over time, that I share and I work with people on. So, if it's helpful for you, David, great. If it's not, just, throw it out and move on. Hopefully it's helpful to somebody. Again, I just want to support you in what you're doing. Man, I'd just love to see you crush it. Come back through the combine, get funded, and I'd love to see you just crush it. Because I get the sense that, man, that would change your life. And that would be awesome. Awesome to see that happen for you. And this whole mindset thing, yeah, you know what? It's more than mindset, it's emotion too, right? The physical thing, how you feel is not physical, that's mental, that's emotional. Physical health is different. That's man, that's physical, right? Do you exercise? Do you you know, are you physical? Do you move around? Do you get that 10, 20, 30 minutes of activity in a day? You know, that's physical. Emotion and mentality, those are psychology. Those are different things. And they take work, and you know, the time to work on those things is not when you're stressed. And so many people don't get that. You don't wait until you're in the middle of your frustration, in the middle of your angst, to suddenly try to become a calm and attentive and a responsive person emotionally and psychologically and mentally, right? It doesn't work that way. You build that muscle before you hit the stress, because what happens, it becomes a habit. And then when you hit the stress, now the habit begins to kick in. Think about all the habits you have today. You might not even know about them because you haven't had to think about them for years. But there's so many habits that you and I live with every single day that we don't think about. You know how complicated your life would be if you erased all of your habits and you suddenly had to negotiate your whole day without any of those habits. Think about that. It might actually be something along the line of a trader who's never been profitable, and I'm not referring to you, I'm just saying as an example, not having any habits would be something along the lines of a trader who has never been profitable, and they're going through all these processes to try to become profitable, right? They're watching and listening to other people. They're doing these different things. They're saying, well, this is the pattern, trying indicators, are doing all these things because they want the perfect entry, right? Because you get the perfect entry, then you're going to be profitable. But here's the reality, right? Just because you have the perfect entry doesn't mean you're going to be profitable. This has happened so many times where people have been given profitable setups and they can't trade them. Being a consistently profitable trader takes work, and you know this. You know this, David, so I'm not preaching to you. I'm just preaching to the world. I'm just in that moment of emotion, so hang with me, okay? And this whole thing about master trader, you know what? You know, as Gary Vee would say, fuck that. Who cares? Who cares if somebody calls himself a master trader? So what? What has that got to do with you? Not a damn thing. You don't have to justify who you are as a trader to be a good trader. I think a lot of traders get hung up on that. It's not about what everybody else thinks about you as a trader. It's about how you trade. You know, what's the number one thing as a trader that matters? The number one thing. What is it? Think about it. What's the number one thing? Profit. If you're not profitable, then why the hell trade? And if you're trading the same way you've been trading and you haven't found profit, then why the hell are you doing that to yourself? And I'm not saying that's true with you, David. I'm just saying. Stop doing what you're doing if it's not working. And you know it's not working if you're not profitable. But there's something, back to you, David, there's something that's working because you're qualifying. You're working through the combine, you're getting funded, so there's something you're doing in those windows of opportunity that's working. Well, what changes once you become funded? I mean, it's just a question that comes to mind for me. What's different once you become funded? What trades do you take differently once you become funded that you would never take in a combine? I'm just curious. Something's different. Something's different. If you know you can get through these combines and you've done it several times, what's different in your trading during the combines versus once you become funded? There are trading coaches out there that have never traded and don't trade that are masterful at supporting traders, masterful in guiding and assisting traders in becoming better traders. Experience as a trader is not a determining factor in whether or not somebody can provide value as a coach. And people need to get over that, because there's so much more in trading than actual trading. Anybody can take a frickin' trade. Anybody. Taking a trade is the easiest part of this whole thing. So I think that's it. Heck, I don't know. I know this was a rant. I've never done this before, right? But hopefully you get that I care, David. Because, man, I want to see you win. I want to see you crush it in your funded account. So do whatever work you got to do. But, man, if trading really is your passion, do not let go of it. Hold on to it with everything you have, because it's you, right? Our passion is a reflection of who we are on the inside. Seriously, our passion is a reflection of who we are on the inside. If you or I don't embrace our passion, we're ignoring ourselves. We're saying that there's something out there that's more important than self. And I'll close on this note. It's something that I share often. When you're preparing for takeoff on a flight, on an airplane, the flight attendant will tell the parent of a child to do what? To put the oxygen on their face first. So take care of themselves first, so they can then take care of the child. So many people try to take care of all this stuff out here, stuff that doesn't have anything to do with this, with self. And your passion, it's not your job to silence your passion. It's not your job to meditate it out of your system to where you're peacefully numb about your passion. Bruce Lee was a lot of things, but he was not peaceful or calm about his fighting, about his methods. His energy and his passion and his emotion was very, very real. So yeah, did he share lots of pieces of wisdom? Absolutely. But do not forget the actions. The actions that he took were profound. They were huge. So I know, intense, right? But this is me. And this is my passion for trading. And I just want you to know that, dude, do not let go of it. Hang in there. Come on back. I love that you got a check. I love, love, love that. That's awesome. Celebrate that check. But then get back in. Get back through the combine. Get back into the funded. And man, crush it. Peace out. I'll talk to you soon.